I'm going to start with something that everybody here already knows. I've worked with enough CFEs over the years and auditors, risk professionals, law enforcement. I know you know this, but it has to be said anyway. We're all capable of committing fraud. Every single person in this room is capable of committing crimes. Let's start with that. Because why is that? Actually, it starts with something that psychologists call the fundamental attribution error. Basically, this comes from our Darwinian survival mechanism. We're here thanks to the blessings of our forefathers, our genetics, because the people before us and our families were strong enough to overcome amazing diversity to get here. As a result, that creates great resilience. Resilience so that each one of us, which is good, this is healthy mentally, given the odds and how difficult life can be, we believe that we can overcome those odds. We can survive. But as you know so much, a lot of times, things have a double-edged sword to them, and that's true here. In our resilience, at the same time, we can become vulnerable. And that's where the fundamental attribution error, the FAE, comes into place. Because a lot of times we underestimate the power of situational factors, thinking we're strong enough to handle them. And sometimes that's not the case. Now, I know a lot of you are familiar with things like the one-time act, right? The CFO, who cooks the books because they're trying to save the quarter, they're trying to be able to give good results to the shareholders, and they're told to do that. And one of the key elements they say is, but I just meant to do it just this time. Just this time. Let me say something right off the bat here. If you ever interview or interrogate somebody who actually says that, actually, the truth is they were probably more closely one of us. They were in what I call the 93 to 95% of the normal population. We're all capable of doing that and then thinking that we can rectify it, that we can make it better later and nobody will know the difference. That could be true, but imagine if you are CFO of Macy's. I hope there's nobody from Macy's here. And, things have not been going well. First quarter, second quarter, you fudge the books a little bit. Third quarter's been slow. And then you get into fourth quarter, which is September to December. In retail, is that a good quarter usually? Yes or no? Of course. And then it's October 1st, 2008. What happened? The stock market crashed. Would you be able to anticipate that? No. And a lot of people didn't. And so a lot of fraud, that people were hoping to hide and were to rectify came out into the open. So one of the reasons why the average person, you and I, we get caught up thinking that we can overcome the odds. And if we go off our path, that we'll be able to rectify it and come back on. Now, I know that you have the triangle of wrongdoing. Rationalization, motivation, and opportunity. I like that triangle. And I want to kind of piggyback on it with what a psychologist would see. We actually look at human beings when it comes to the white-collar criminal in two unique ways. The average person generally does not want to commit crimes, not unless they're forced to. Most people have a conscience. Most people try to do the right thing. That's really important for all of us to understand. So their temperament, their general character is actually good. But given enough opportunity, right, and also enough temptation, if you have a job, your wife has a job, or your spouse, your children are well fed, you're doing fine, even if you came across money lying around that shouldn't be there, chances were you would turn it in because you don't need it. But if you lost your job, if you didn't know where your next payment was going to come from, okay, the temptation, of course, can be overwhelming, yes? That's the average person. But I want to talk to you about the not-so-average 5 to 7% hardcore white-collar criminal.